Now, many of those immigrants fear the complete closure of the border is imminent. That's what he promises. And this is stirring fears that there could be a huge wave, a caravan, which actually is approaching the United States as we speak. Joining me right now to discuss all this, retired Chief Patrol Agent Clem. Thank you so much for being with us. You know, a lot of Americans were in support of deportations, especially the criminals, the violent criminals, rapists, drug dealers, cartel members, Tren de Aragua gang members, the list goes on. But there are some who want more compassion. And the fact that the pictures of people being gathered up or herded, those optics could be very difficult to watch for any American with a heart. So should that be something that this particular administration should try to target or deal with as a concern, or should they care?
Well, thanks for having me on. This is an important topic, but look, we've made it very clear, and I know that Tom Homan has made it very clear that the strategy is national security threats and public safety threats, just like that list of criminals you mentioned. That's the focus. That's where the American public, really agrees with the president-elect and his plan. We secure the border. Meanwhile, we go after these bad actors that are already in the United States. That is something that, everybody should be getting behind. And it is reckless. It is emotionally, intellectually immature when these mayors and governors are planning to resist. I mean, look, they really can't do anything about it. They can just kind of be a nuisance, because I can guarantee you ICE and Border Patrol and the CBP officers, they're going to do what the president wants them to do, secure the border and then go after these bad guys.
Border Patrol agents obviously making a number of arrests of gang members who are known to be from other countries who came into the United States. We see a spike in 2019, another spike in 2022. Why do you think it is that some Americans, including some of these leaders, are opposed to stricter immigration laws? Could they be protecting someone they know who's affected? Is it that they just believe blindly that we should just take everyone in and everyone can be changed, can become a new person?
Well, I got to believe it's the latter, because they shouldn't be. They're they're intelligent people, but they're virtue signaling, because they've got supporters that are open border and immigration advocates that really support, especially these left-leaning progressive mayors and governors. Look, this is about national security and public safety. We've seen it play out way too much over the last 4 years. All the heinous crimes. They need to get behind and cooperate with the federal government and make sure that we're going after the people that we target. Could there be some collateral damage, people that maybe shouldn't have been picked up? But you know what? If they're here in the country illegally, they're a risk. But this idea that, people are going to go knocking down doors and going into quinceañeras and schools, that's ridiculous. We've never done that before. Why would we do it again? We've run these operations for a long time. Now we've got an administration that's coming in and saying, hey, we're going to back the men and women of immigration enforcement and do something that the American people are behind. But we shouldn't be fear-mongering. We should actually be cooperating with the federal government. And these governors and mayors need to stop virtual signaling and actually protect their citizens from the ones that are going to do them harm.
It's interesting, and I've listened to several of them. It's about residents. They say we're protecting our residents, and that could mean someone who's here illegally. What penalty would they face if they don't assist in these efforts or just defy those efforts by the federal government?
Well, isn't it interesting how they always say immigration is a federal issue? And now that you have a federal government coming in that's going to enforce the law, now they have an issue with the federal government. There's not much they can do when it comes down to illegal immigration. They can put up some hurdles and some roadblocks by not cooperating. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a new attorney general. There's going to be new U.S. attorneys. So if they are actively resisting, if they're harboring and they're interfering with federal operations, they run a risk of criminal prosecution. And I'm sure some will try to, be the martyr and be part of the protest. But look, let's get down to brass tacks. American people need to be protected. We need to get the bad actors and the criminal gangs and all these people that have warrants of removal out there. Let's start with that group first. And then let's find the common sense and compassion way to clean up the rest that may have been in this country illegally and just didn't know how to properly do things the right way. There's a common ground here, but resisting is just not going to work this time. The American people voted, and they've said, hey, we want to clean this up.
And the American people voted, in the majority of whom believe in law and order in this country. And one of those laws is there's an asylum process, but 90% of the people who come into our country don't qualify for it. And I think they're scratching their heads. Americans are saying, well, what's the deal? Are there laws and are we following them? One last question for you. South Dakota's Governor Kristi Noem. She's been nominated to replace Alejandro Mayorkas. And then you have Tom Homan, who has a long history in law enforcement and with ICE. What are your thoughts on these two selections?
Well, first, I'll start with Tom Homan. I've known and worked with Tom for over almost a dozen years now. I think he is the right person to lead the charge here because especially right out the chute, he's going to get things done. He's not focusing on feelings. He's focusing on fixing problems.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.